We are going to try TDD Kata, which is string calculator Kata. So basically I have written down here the rules of this Kata. So the rules are very simple. So we want to write a Java class or method which should take a number as a string or numbers, for example 1.1, 2.2 separated by comma, and it should return its sum in the string form only. So for example, if I give the input as 6, the output should be 6. If the input is 6, 3, 2, output should be 11, but output should be in string form. And there are certain rules. We will go through them one by one. So first is the empty string should return 0. Second is the numbers should be separated by comma. There can be other delimiter as well, which will come in other cases. And other rule is it should be allowed to give any number of arguments. For example, argument can be 1, 2, 3, and there can be another argument which would be 4, or there can be more, for example 5. So it would give us sum of all these, that is 6, 10, and 15. Or it can be only this much. So it will give us sum as 6. Other is that it should be able to handle new line as a separator. So if there is /n between, it should treat it as a delimiter. So 1/n 2, 3 should return 6. And if the delimiter is at wrong place, for example, comma and /n are together, then it should return the message number expected but /n found at position 6. If the position, there is no number at the last position, for example 1, 3, then missing number, then it should return the message number expected but end of file found. Other cases that it should be able to handle delimiters, different delimiters. For example, we can give double slash and then our delimiter, then /n and numbers. For example, if we want to try with pipe, so we have to give input as it will be // then pipe, then /n, then the number will start. For example, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it should be pipe 1, 2, and something like that. Then it should give as 6. Next use case is that if a negative number is in the input, then it should give a message that negative not allowed, telling which all negative numbers are there. For example, it should say negative not allowed -1 and negative not allowed -4 and 5 here. And the multiple errors will return and are separated by new lines. So if there are multiple errors, then it should return a single message, but different errors should be separated by a /n character. For example, this has delimiter, a missing number and negative sign. So it should give us a message like negative not allowed or comma found at position, whatever it is. Okay. So, and to do this Kata, we will follow the 3 rules that TD cycle. Yeah. So we will write a failing test case, and then we will make the test pass, and after that we will refactor it, and we will do it in very small steps, and we will repeat the cycle. So if you see here, I have created this simple project. I have added this assert_j library, so it just helps to make JUnits very readable. For example, I have written a small test kits. For example, assert that 1 is equal to 2. So we generally in our JUnits use assert dot equals, but assert J helps to write more readable test. So I've just written a dummy test case to check everything works, and this is failing. Okay, so we will start with very basic. So first thing we need to do is, the first case that comes to my mind is if we are sending an empty string, then the output should be 0. So let's write first the failing test case for it. So I am keeping it here. So let's remove this and let's write new test. Public void empty string should return 0. Okay. Now, if you see here, there is no class I have yet written. So that is one of the thing how you derive TDD, that you write test and then you make classes on the go. So you don't write classes first and then add test. So my class name should be, I want input as, so it should be, I think, let me check. It should return 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it should be 0. Okay, so it should be returning 0. Okay, so I want string answer equals to, my class name should be string calculator, and my sum name should be calculate sum of it should be empty string. Okay, as you see here, I am getting a compilation error. It is saying that the class string calculator is not available. So let's create class string calculator, and it should be in main method. Okay, now we have our class string calculator. Now it is saying that calculate function is not there. So let's create method calculate sum here. Public static is okay because we don't need, yeah, in short, static is okay. Okay. So let's again go back to string calculator class, and let's do assert that answer dot is equal to 0. Okay, I'm removing this because we don't need this now. So if the input is this empty string, the answer should be 0. Now let's run our test case, and let's see it failing. So it has failed, expected 0 but was null. So now we will write minimal code to make it pass. So we have gone through the first iteration of our TDD cycle, that we should have, for every feature we should write a failing test first. So we have written this failing test. Now let's make it pass. So we can go to string calculator. Let's change this name as input, and let's simply return 0. So this is the minimal step that we can do to make the current test pass. And if we go here and we will run it again, yeah, and our test passes. So if we see here, so we have gone through test fail, test pass, and test refactor. So the code is very less to refactor at the moment. So we'll just give a quick look if anything can be improved. Looks okay. Yeah, so we can move to next test. And the next feature that comes to my mind is if we are giving it a single number, let's suppose one or two, not multiple numbers, then it should return that number itself because the sum is going to be that number itself. So let's write test public void single number should return itself as sum. And I'm going to do string answer equals to string calculator dot calculate sum. Let's give it 5 and assert that answer dot is equal to 5. Okay. Now here, if you see here, we can just improve this a little bit. We can inline this inline local variable. So we have string calculator dot calculate sum is equal to 0, and we can inline this here as well. String calculate dot calculate sum 5 equal to 5. Now let's run the test cases again. Yeah, it is. So one has passed and the new one has failed itself as sum. So let's make it pass now. We'll go to our class string calculator, and this is the input, and it is returning 0. We can add if input dot equals 0, return 0, otherwise return input as it is. Okay, so this should make our test case pass. If that string is empty, it will return 0, else it will return the input as it is. Let's run our, so both our test cases have passed now. So if we go here, we are again at the second step. Now let's see if there is anything to refactor. So one thing, this looks like we can move it to constant. Let's name it empty string. If input dot equals empty string, return 0, otherwise return input. Okay, so now we have, if you see in TDD, so as we move and as we write JUnit, so JUnit starts becoming kind of documentation. So you don't need to write some Confluence page. So if someone will come to this, open this JUnit class and he will start reading this, he should get the idea of what that class is supposed to do. So empty string should return 0. Single number should return itself as sum. We can improve the names also on the go. For example, this could be if there is only one number, then sum should be returned as itself, something like that. Yeah. Now, so we have done refactor also. Now let's again move to our next use case. Next use case is that it should be able to handle multiple numbers. So I will just write it here. No, let's, for example, if it is like this 1, comma 2, comma 3, it should return 6. At test public void multiple numbers or we can give the name as sum of numbers separated by comma should be returned. Let's delete this. And here we can, let's copy this line. Okay, move it to down here. And here we can give 1, comma 2, comma 3, and it should return 6. Okay. Now let's see it getting passed. Sorry, let's see it getting failed. Okay, so our 2 test cases are passing and the latest one is failing. So in the next video, what we will do is we will continue from here and make it pass. It is a good practice to pause your work after writing a failing test case. So when you come, you know which feature are you going to build. So let's continue this in the next video.